It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no risk. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to go two ways. Time it cannot know the bounds, and there are don't dictate.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, and welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm your host, Xander Gibb, and coming up on today's show, we will be breaking down some of this week's white-hot topics with the fabulous Tony Lasaka, who's covering for Ty this week. No, Ty hasn't left for all of you who have been asking. He's on an educational sabbatical, and then we'll be back very soon to tell you about that. And tell you about what he has been doing. We will also be taking your calls. You can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. More to come in a mere moment. You can interact with us in wrong teeth in today. You can interact with us during the show today. In the chat room at the bottom of the show page, click on the link. Keep scrolling down. If it doesn't let you comment, that's because you have to join Blog Talk, their rules, not mine, so you can take part in the chat right there. And as I said, you can call us on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or on Twitter, you can tweet us. We are everywhere. You can tweet me at Xander Gibb. Xandergibb. That's Xandergibb. Capital X, capital G. Don't forget the all-important @ symbol at the beginning. And Tony, you can tweet him too. Whether he responds is another matter because he's not a big tweeter. We have to encourage Tony to tweet more. His Twitter handle is FullStory2014. FullStory2014. That's FullStory2014. Tweet me if you're too shy, and I will make your point for you. I am out of breath now. So there's still time to vote in this week's poll at xandergibb.com on the homepage. Do you have white guilt, and do you even know what it is? We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Make sure you go and vote now, and I promise you I will not forget to give you the results this week. I keep forgetting. Or you can give us a call on that subject or anything you want to get off your chest. 347-884-9061. 347-884-9061. Everybody's opinion is welcome here. We don't have to agree. We just have to be civil, or I will beat you up. So just a reminder that this Sunday we will be celebrating the life of a very special person, the one and only Mr. Stephen Bacon, who was one of my fabulous friends. Don't forget that you are needed to be in the Two Brewers in London, with a glass of bubbly in hand before 3 p.m. Now, apparently the memorial will last about an hour, but they're hoping that as many of them will be able to get there and stick around for the evening for a Two Brewers party, Sunday style. They have an amazing plethora of performers, including Miss Jason Lavoie and, of course, the fabulous Sandra. Take yourselves back to the good old days, share stories, drink, dance to steps, and remember Stephen. Now, guests are invited to make a donation to Cancer is a Drag. That's Cancer is a Drag at cancerisadrag.org. That's CANCERISADRAG.org. Or in the UK, you can donate by text. I really have got somebody else's teeth in today. I don't know whose. To only drag. Drag 11, DRAG 11, DRAG11, and drag is all in capitals, followed by a space, and then the amount you would like to donate, the dollar, the pound sign, and then 2, 5, or 10, or whatever you want to send, and that's to text that to 770. That's 70070. Please make sure you check out Cancer is a Drag and go and support them. Oh, yes, indeedy. I'm almost out of breath and out of vigor. But before we go any further, without further ado, let me bring on my fabulous co-host for today, the one, the only broadcaster, libertarian, freethinker, Mr. Tony Lasacco. Welcome back to the show. Tony, how you doing?
Good, Xander. How are you?
I am fabulous. It's like 120 degrees here, and I've got the air conditioner on, and it's throbbing, and I've got the fan on too, and I'm still very, very hot. Please tell me it's not raining and cold where you are.
No, it's not. Not today,
Good.
anyway.
Absolutely. So, I don't know if you heard, but we were talking about in the run-up. We were talking about white guilt. There's been a lot of talk. Gosh, my brain is not working. Our listener poll this week is asking about guilt. It's asking, do you have white guilt, and do you even know what it is? Have you heard about all of this? Do you have white guilt, Tony?
Xander, it is so funny you should mention that. I did not know you were going to be talking about this, and I just posted something on my Facebook about it. Wow, that is a coincidence. Did you know white guilt is the topic, right?
Yes, that is the topic.
Well,
that's the poll for this week that we've been asking people about.
Let me tell you about a picture. It's on my Facebook feed, actually, of a white 18-year-old girl holding a sign up that says Black Lives Matter, okay? Now, here's what the sign says, though. I reject the white male patriarchy that kills, imprisons, and oppresses our black men in America. White privilege is denying human rights to people of color. Social justice requires the end to the white race, reject white social norms, and reproduce only with black men of color. No more white babies ever. White extinction equals no more white privilege.
Wow.
And that is posted, and she's holding the sign up. This is an 18-year-old white girl from Monmouth College.
I'm kind of astounded at that, because if a white person held up a sign saying exactly the same but change the words around, to say make no more black babies, there would be a war. There would be such outrage, and quite rightly so. But here's the thing for me. I'm all about unity. I know there's discrimination out there towards black people and ethnic minorities, as there is to white people and gay people from some sections of the community. But here's the thing for me. What about all lives matter? I think that if we're going to come together and we're going to make a difference, how about forgetting about our differences and actually looking at what we have in common? Doesn't that make more sense?
It does. In fact, I posted a very powerful thing on my Facebook feed about that, where the only thing that matters is all of us coming together.
Right.
It doesn't matter black, white. That's the only thing the establishment doesn't want, because they want us to be divided and fighting each other, because we're not thinking about the people in power that are controlling us then. It's time for black, white, gay, straight, everybody to come together.
Even the gays? Wow. That was
maybe we'll just put some pink put some pink triangles on them and let Donald Trump ship them off somewhere,
Absolutely. So why do you think on a serious note, why do you think that this gets so confused? Because I have a theory that there is method in this madness, and that and that while the government while we're fighting amongst ourselves, the government are rubbing their hands together in glee because we're not seeing the things they're doing to change our lives, the rights they're taking away from us, because we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I would agree with that. In fact, I've developed actually kind of my own crazy little sociology theory on it. Not to bore with details because it's kind of complicated, but I call it systems. We all talk about the rich having a lot of money, right? And they get more money, and they're controlling us, right? But actually the issue is not money because the money system isn't real. The rich actually created money. There's nothing that backs it up. There's no material value in that paper currency. They actually created money, so it doesn't do them any good to have more money. What it is it's the means by which they control us. They essentially created a false system of currency, but they use it to manipulate and control average people. They don't care if they have $1 billion or $2 because they're the ones that create and define the value of the money. It's not about the money, it's about the power. And that's what people don't realize. It's about the power and the manipulation of our lives. Money is just one tool that they use to control others. But that's my own little thing.
Absolutely, but you would agree that it's part of a system of control, whether people see it or not.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is the system of control that they've used to control us. But it's a fake system. It's not, oh, they're getting richer than us. Oh, there's this great wealth divide. They define what wealth is. You know, if I create brownies and start giving brownies out, I'm the guy that makes the brownies. I created brownies to begin with. It doesn't matter to me whether I have 50 billion or not. I can make as many as I want.
Absolutely, for sure. Now, it's kind of it's important to know. It's funny. I was talking about this on the Real Side with Joe Messino last night. I was talking about the fact that there is kind of this school of thought that the powers that be don't want us to be unified. Now, do you think that there is a fear amongst some in the leadership that if everybody gets together, then there might be some kind of revolution?
I do, absolutely, and I think that's why I call them fake stories meant to divide, and people buy into it with a lot of the ignorance. I think one of my best posts on Facebook was it showed a picture of white power and the white supremacist, then black power and the black supremacist, and then it showed a picture of a white hand and a black hand shaking hands and saying, this is the only thing that scares the establishment. And that is so true. I mean, they want us talking about Donald Trump and everybody else, and, you know, they want us talking about gay marriage and black and white. They want us distracted to get us away from the real issues because there'd be a revolution. There'd be a revolution. There would be a revolution.
There would indeed. There would indeed. And I think that is one thing of which they are afraid of. I really do. Now, did you see that the kind of like the back and forth this week where I said I didn't want to talk about Donald Trump, but you mentioned him and it sparked something in my mind. Did you see that he at the debate he talked about Rosie O'Donnell and said she was a fat pig, and then there was this back and forth about blood, period blood, and all of this.
Yeah.
Now, so many people are down on Rosie O'Donnell. Now, I love Rosie. She's a friend of mine, but you know, like everybody else, everybody has their flaws. You do, I do, she does, and she doesn't always get it right. And I'm sure she would be the first to admit that. But here's the thing for me: shouldn't we be at a point now where we're a bit more dignified than slinging mud or blood even in public like this? You know, Donald Trump on the world stage throwing insults like this. You know.
Well, and there's always a story behind the story, see? Okay?
Right.
Donald Trump was a large contributor to, and see, this is what people don't understand, and that's why I titled my page The Full Story with the videos. Donald Trump is a huge supporter of the Clintons, but guess who else is? This isn't being reported. You know who one of the biggest contributors to the Clinton campaign has been in the past? And the Clinton Foundation?
Monica Lewinsky?
News Corp. That would be Fox News.
So
one
not
of the
Monica
biggest
Lewinsky.
contributors. No, one of the biggest contributors to the Clintons is News Corporation, owned by Murdoch. Well, gee, how would they be supporting the left and Hillary Clinton? Because they're all friends. It's about power and control.
Of course. I have friends in all echelons of society, and I have a friend who used to be a senator, and he told me that basically what you see about all the kind of disagreements out there, it's all forgotten off camera because they're socializing outside and they're big buddies, but for the public they're kind of like, always at odds. And I think it's a concern, really.
I cannot verify this because I've seen it several times and I haven't been able to verify the statistic, but I do believe it, which it says that only 6 corporations own all of the print, internet, and TV media in the United States, that they are owned by 6 mega corporations if you track the money in the stocks. We live in a controlled society. I mean, even let's look at the election. There's a lot of talk about Sanders and Trump. Who are they kidding? We will have a choice between Hillary Clinton and Jeb Bush. We've become an oligarchy, and I don't know if anybody has realized that. We're going back over 20 years when the original Bush took office. The presidency has changed hands between 2 powerful families that are actually related to each other in a distance. I mean,
but isn't this part of what, whether you like Roseanne Barr or not is like a different matter. I happen to hold her in high esteem, but she's talked for long enough about the let me get the phrase right, the prison industrial something
complex.
Yes,
the
machine.
prison industrial complex. Yes.
Right. And don't you think all of this feeds in and out of that?
It's all, and that's what I'm really saying. I'm really putting forth a common theme here. It's an illusion. Like, for instance, you hear a lot of conspiracy talk, and I'm into conspiracy theories as much as the next guy, about the government taking over. The government doesn't run the shots. It's a front for the power brokers behind it, the bureaucracy, the corporations, the wealthy families. In fact, I read an interesting story. You might know more about this than me, and I don't know if this is true or not. Like I said, it's the internet, but it claimed that London is actually a corporation, that it's the City of London Corporation, and it dates back to the 1800s, and it's actually run by a group of bankers independent of the British government. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that was certainly an interesting story I came across.
Absolutely. I don't know. I think that a lot of these things are circular. I mean, someone told me 10 years ago that after Bush, baby Bush, after his term of office was over, that there would be a black president, and I never believed it. Not because I'm racist, not because I don't want a black person to be running the country, but apparently there is a school of thought that these things are kind of like decided years in advance. And whilst we think we're having democracy and that we're voting, but what is actually happening is that it's actually still all decided for us.
Well, let me pose to you a crazy theory here. And that's all it is conjecture, mind you, theory. What if President Obama was predetermined to be president for the 8 years to basically give a break between the Bushes and the Clintons so nobody would worry about a new world order or the government taking over or anything, and it was designed not to show what's really happening. and he's a
Right.
placeholder until another Bush or Clinton get in with their real interests involved for the New World Order. And Donald Trump is meant, and Bernie Sanders are not meant to challenge Clinton or to challenge Bush, but on the contrast to scare people in, oh, we can't vote for a socialist, we'll vote for Hillary. Oh, we can't vote for Donald Trump, he's crazy, we'll vote for Bush.
No,
A
it's
false
funny you
choice.
should say that. It's funny you should say this because I have been saying for long enough, and if people listen to back episodes of the show, you'll be able to confirm this, that Donald Trump is actually running for a reason, and it's not in order to take office. It's in order to push. You see, I can't work out whether it's the Republicans that are paying him or the Democrats, but one side or another are paying him to either push it further for Hillary or to push it further for, I keep wanting to call him Tom Cruise, Ted Cruz. I definitely believe that.
And here's the thing. What people don't understand is there is no difference, and good if I offend people, maybe it'll wake them up. There is no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. The same
Right.
companies. These same companies donate equally to both politicians and both parties. They are both fronts for the powers that be. Now, do I know who the powers that be are? No. I'd be one of them if I knew that. I'm speaking in broad terms.
Right.
But for the people that really control the money, control the corporations, and run our lives, control our media, and put forth the fake political puppets, those are the power brokers.
But I think it's people like you and I that are kind of like in between, because I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, and like you, I nowadays term myself as a libertarian. And my sister said a funny thing the other day. She said, I never thought you were truly a Democrat because you were always kind of like, we're in between, but I think that most people kind of go to which they lean more, what kind of party represents them more closely. But here's the thing. People like you and I and lots of other libertarians actually will chastise both sides equally if they disagree with policy or ideology, et cetera, et cetera. But hardline Democrats and hardline Republicans, I've met Democrats that will not have one word said against Barack Obama. If they saw Barack Obama shoot his wife in the head on live television, they would still say it didn't happen. It was special effects. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen it equally from Republicans who, George Bush Jr. can walk on water and has never done anything wrong. But do you think that we should be looking to our leaders not to toe the party line? Because here's the thing. Both sides are fallible in all of this, surely. So we should be looking for a level of independence from whichever candidate is nominated, because otherwise we're going to get more of the same. Hillary is going to be just an extension of Baz, and whoever comes along is going to be just an extension of the Bushes. We need change, surely.
We do, but I wonder and I question at this point whether there is any real democracy. Now, I say see, people get terms confused sometimes. I'm not saying that we're in a totalitarian dictatorship by any means, okay? We're not in totalitarianism. We're not in the days where of a government in full control. What we are in is an oligarchy, which means rule by few. There are a few rich and powerful interests who control everything right now. And they control our government as well. And that's different than totalitarianism where the government controls everything. It's a few individuals, like in the Middle Ages when the lords, controlled the king. And they were just a few wealthy landowners. And that's really what the United States has become. It's become ruled by a few rich and powerful.
You see, it's become, but isn't that what it's always been? We've just allowed society and the government to paint it differently.
I've wondered that question myself. Something? I've looked a lot at history and I've wondered that myself because, it's not like the Revolutionary War. They like to paint our great founders as great patriots and everything, but the Revolutionary War was basically fought by rich English noblemen, or who started it, who didn't want to pay their taxes to the king, and they had no intentions of even the freedoms we have today. Women's rights weren't thought of. Freedom of slaves weren't thought of. Gay rights weren't thought of.
No,
I mean, it was basically, no, we're rich, and we don't want the king telling us what to do.
Exactly. So let's move it on a little, because we've got lots of topics to discuss, and I think we could discuss that kind of stuff forever. But actress Amy Schumer and her cousin Senator Chuck Schumer held a press conference recently calling for stronger background checks on people who want to purchase guns following the shooting at a movie theater in Louisiana that left 2 dead. Now, Amy discussed the tragedy but refused to name the shooter, making the statement about the consequences of glorifying killers. These shooters have got to stop. For me, the pain I share with many other Americans on the issue of gun violence was made extremely personal to me on July 23rd, when, I'm not going to say his name, he sat down for my movie Trainwreck, plug, I thought about these victims each day since the tragedy. Now, Schumer, who says that she has received death threats for her comedy, Join the Club, promises to continue to speak out against gun violence, furthered the notion that mass shooters and killers should not be glorified by the media. Now, the fixation on the killers makes them an anti-hero celebrity of sorts, which only signifies to other unstable people that they can achieve that level of fame and validation for a mass murder. Now, let's take this a step at a time. Now, you and I have discussed gun control at length, both on the show and away from the show, and from my recollection, we've always agreed that that more in-depth background checks are definitely necessary. Do you still feel that way?
I do. In fact, I think what Representative Schumer is talking about is more of what I was saying earlier. Pardon the phrase, it's complete political bullshit to pacify the masses. They're not talking about real reform. If you want real reform with gun control and you want to hurt the gun manufacturers, what you have to do is have mental health screenings required before somebody purchases a gun, and you need to pass a law where the media cannot release the names of these people. And you need to do those 2 things. Yes, background checks are, and a drug screening, forgot that. When you do not have those 3 points, you will not have meaningful gun reform. Background checks, it's not your local drug dealer or the guy that robs the bank or the Circle K that's going in and to the elementary schools and shooting our children.
No.
It's not. They'll come up clean in the background screening. For the most part. I shouldn't generalize. For the most part.
There's like a scale with all of this. You know, some people want guns gone altogether, and some people are quite in agreement about the fact that the checks should be more thorough. But there is also an argument about the fact that gun owners' families should be checked out too. Now, I know lots of people that are pro-gun and that are gun owners and keep their gun in a lockbox, et cetera, and follow the rules. You know, but the guy in the Newtown shooting, his mother bought him that gun, didn't she? Or was it, I can't remember, was it her gun or was it his gun? But he had I would not have a gun in the house with anyone that had mental health issues. But I just wouldn't do it. Would you?
No, I wouldn't trust myself with a gun. Let alone Kiko.
Right. Oh, definitely not Kiko. Just joking, Kiko, because I know you're listening.
Yep. It's a joke. I think we are not doing meaningful reform, and that's because there's a powerful gun lobby. See, here's the thing: if they can keep everybody arguing about background checks, when they know that that's going to not make a difference, they're going to force people. They're going to divide. This is the strategy. No matter what the issue is, pick an insignificant issue, put it up there as a false choice, and divide people over the false choice you're presenting when the real issue just hides in the background and is never talked about. So they're dividing and giving you a fake issue so you don't get to the real issue of meaningful reform.
So more of the same, basically.
Yeah, more of the same. It's the same technique, and they're using it whether it's racism, whether it's gun control, whether it's immigration reform. It's the same technique. Get people to hate each other, divide people, and make things that are insignificant to be big, significant, and divide people over them so people don't come together, realize the truth, and demand meaningful reform.
Because it kind of seems like there's a lot of in between, and there's kind of like balance on both sides. But I'm curious to know what you think about what Amy Schumer said about we shouldn't be sharing the names of these shooters because it glorifies them further. Now, I tend to agree with that. Do you?
As I said, in what I was saying, the 3 points, I'll go a step further. It should be illegal for the media to report the names. You cannot yell fire in a crowded theater. When national security is involved, they make it a crime to reveal it. You know, like if we knew, like if the media knew that the United States was about to strike China, you know, and they got the scoop and they wanted to put that out there on the evening news, the government would step in and say, no, you can't do that. It's national security. Well, I'm sorry, but to me this qualifies as national security. They should say suspect A, suspect Z, and not give them the glorification. It should be illegal. Sure. And yet I'm talking about censorship. As a libertarian, I'm talking about censorship, and that's pretty bad. I'm probably going to get slaughtered by a lot of libertarians for that. But I'm simply saying make it illegal to report the names, not the content of the story, not to report all the facts, but just withhold the name, for heaven's sake.
Right. And I know, well, I guess for some there is an element of kind of, you know, trying to get fame from what they've done. But I definitely think that it is kind of a worry that we give them that, you know?
Well, I believe, that the media is already controlled, as I said, by corporate interest, and they pick and choose the stories they want to report on. I have a perfect example for you. Everybody knows about the 9/11 memorial in Pennsylvania and New York City, I take it, right? And the one at the Pentagon.
Right.
I'm assuming mostly everybody knows. Did you know that there is a 9/11, it was one of the first ones built, that there is a 9/11 memorial in Bayonne, New Jersey, that stands over 100 feet high, overlooking the original skyline of where the Twin Towers were and the Statue of Liberty. And it's called the Teardrop Memorial. Has anybody ever heard of it? It's in Bayonne, New Jersey.
No, I haven't.
Neither have I until today. Well, here's the interesting thing. That was a gift to the United States of America. President Putnam flew to this country and dedicated the memorial himself. President Putnam of Russia flew in 2005. Putnam, yes. In 2005, Russia gave us, just like France gave us the Statue of Liberty, gave us this memorial. And Putnam himself came to Bayonne, New Jersey, and dedicated it as the 9/11 memorial to show solidarity with the United States of America against the fight of terrorism. It's in Bayonne, New Jersey to this day.
So
the media didn't cover it. We haven't heard of this.
Wait a minute. Wait. Stop. I didn't think Putin was president of Russia. I didn't think he was the premier of Russia in 2005.
Yes, he was. Yes.
Was he?
Yes, he was. Actually, he might have been prime minister. Remember, they switched between the two things. They did that little game. He might have been prime minister, but Putnam was definitely in full control of Russia in 2005. And he visited Bush at the White House as the president of Russia, in fact. And, of course, the media covered the White House visit, you know, after the G8 summit it was, but they did not cover this memorial, and nobody's heard anything of it. Why? Because it's politically inconvenient. See, at the time, there was no 9/11 memorial yet. They were still arguing over what to build at Ground Zero at the time. But Russia gives us this huge memorial of a teardrop over 100 foot high in the sky with the names of every victim of 9/11 engraved, and the president of Russia goes to New Jersey to dedicate it.
Tell me this then. If that's the case, why is he conspiring with Iran against the United States of America if he has such allegiance to us? Why is he working with Iran if he has such allegiance to the United States? Because that doesn't bode well with me.
Well, first thing you got to recall is 2005 was a different time in relations. This was right after 9/11. Russia had terrorism problems of their own. So at the time, it was in their best interest to do this. I think they really thought that we were going to back them no matter where they went in the world at the fight of terror. I think maybe at that point Putin was delusional and thinking I can do whatever I want, and the United States will now back me under the
kind of like
joint
Obama is
terrorism.
now, you mean?
Right. Well, whereas now, things have changed. But I think back then he was hoping that he could just take over a couple of countries, say it was anti-terrorism, and the United States would cheer him on. That's my theory.
Let me stop you for 1 second, Tony, because we have a caller. Let's bring them on. Hi, you're live on Xandermonium. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hi, who's this?
It's Neil again.
Hi, how are you, Neil?
Neil from Facebook. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that the reason why I call into this show is your thing is that we need to treat people better even though we don't disagree with them, or even if we disagree with somebody on a certain subject. I believe it's really important that everybody treats each other civilly, and that's not something that we hear in the media a lot. And you're one of the few shows that's promoting it, and so I want to do what I can to support that.
Well, thank you, Neil. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that we've lost the ability in this country to have civil discourse? Why do you think that we cannot just agree to disagree? Because, of course, if we have freedom of speech, it doesn't matter what other people think. So how have we lost that, do you think?
Well, I think I don't know how the whole thing works together, but if you look on TV, well, a couple of things. First, if you look on any reality show, it's people arguing with each other. That's all it is, and it's all made up and scripted and fake banter. And if you look on a political show of any political side, left or right, it's these people are ruining America, and these people are ignorant, and these people are ruining America. And I think that the media is developing sort of a culture they're trying to train people to be at each other's throats and argue, and I can't help but think that that's a little bit of divide and conquer. If the
Absolutely. Let me stop you there for 1 second. So, Tony, would you agree with that? Would you disagree? What say you?
I definitely agree, and it goes really back. I really think that Facebook post was a powerful post. When we come together and unite, it's what I've been saying this whole program. We need to stop condemning each other and hating each other for what we believe and thinking our way is the only way and attacking others who disagree with us, and come together and find real solutions. I mean, I'd like to see a million-man march in Washington for All Lives Matter against police brutality. How about that? Black, white, everybody marching together and demanding we stop the militarization of the police and we stop law enforcement from abusing the civil liberties of all Americans, no matter who they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for calling in today, Neil, and thanks for listening, and we hope you will continue to listen for the rest of the show.
All right. Well, thanks, Danny. You take care now.
You too, Neil. Thanks a lot. So what have you brought for us today, Tony? What is your story? I hope we didn't cover it already. With the plethora of subjects that we've been discussing.
We covered a bunch of them already, but one story that goes a little bit overlapping with what we were talking about is, have you heard about Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam and his recent comments at the Methodist Church?
No, I haven't. enlighten us.
Okay. He called for, and see, I don't understand this, and as you know, I call my show The Full Story. I am not, and I want to make this disclaimer first, I am not attacking black people at all. I am not attacking African Americans or a particular race. There are plenty of white racists out there. I despise the KKK, the neo-Nazis equally, okay? But when something is hateful and inflammatory and calls for the genocide of a race, it is wrong. Now, Louis Farrakhan called for, in the midst of the Million Man March, he said he wants to raise an army of 10,000 black people to kill white people in retaliation for the police shootings. He actually called for 10,000 black men to rise up, form an army, and start killing white people. How is he not in jail? How is he not being held responsible for this?
But, Tony, how are a lot of people not in jail? And you know, there are pages on Facebook that are suggesting that people should kill black people and that people should kill cops, but nobody is censoring this. And is this the price we pay for free speech, that people can say exactly what they please? Or should the line be when that becomes hate speech, and who decides whether or not it's hate speech?
Well, here's the thing, Xander. It goes back to that false freedom we believe we enjoy. Okay? Really. So they won't censor that. They won't censor that because it's dividing. See, that's why they won't do anything about it. It's dividing, and it spews more hatred. But if Edward Snowden were to come around and reveal another load of national security secrets about the government's dirty laundry, I bet you they'd censor it.
Right.
If the next Edward Snowden. So why is it certain things can be censored, but things that are illegal and incite violence against other people are not? There are laws against this. I mean, it's promoting terrorism.
Right. Of course. But we're not so interested in our domestic terrorists in this country. We're only interested in those that happen to identify as Muslim. You know? And that's a concern, too, because terrorism is terrorism. If you are not for the United States, then go and live somewhere else. Don't sit here and bitch about it. Don't say how bad the country is. If you're not prepared to try and make it better, go and live somewhere else.
Now, speaking of that issue, there was something, and I've got to share this tweet with you. I know you said I'm not much on Twitter or anything, but this was the most
trying to
beautiful...
encourage you to tweet more, Tony.
Yeah. Well, this was on Facebook, so I caught it. It was a reposted tweet, but it's very beautiful, and it's about what they do to us. The guy posts first, I'm a racist. I feel uncomfortable about a guy with a turban on my plane. This isn't okay to me. And that's what he posted on Twitter. So somebody had the most beautiful response to him, and they said, oh, I know what you mean, man. I get really uncomfortable whenever I see a white man walk into a movie theater or an elementary school.
Wow, that's a perfect comeback, isn't it?
It is, but it's true. See, we have these labels and these false dividing lines. This is bad. This is good. I'm right. You're wrong. You're evil. You should be locked up. You should be in jail. And once again, it keeps us from being united and talking about the real issues. Moreover, it spreads hatred. And that's wrong.
I don't know. Here's the thing. For me, I think there's been a time in my life when I haven't always given people a fair opportunity to respond, because there was a time when I thought I knew it all. Shock, horror, gasp. But I think there's actually something that comes with maturity that enables you to be able to deal with discourse better and not to have the ideology that you're always right. I mean, I meet these people every day. I meet these people that are totally right, even though you know 200% that they are wrong. Because I form my opinions on the facts. I don't just rely on one news source. Do you know how many people have said to me in the last month, if I say something that's pro a Republican stance, people say, "Oh yeah, you obviously watch Fox News," and if I say something that's not pro-Republican, Republicans will say to me, "Oh, you're clearly a liberal." So I can't win, but that's not going to stop me from continuing to kind of seek the truth and try and make a difference in this world. And I really wish more people were like that, because essentially that is what's going to save this country.
That is true, and I get the same thing, as you well know, Xander. In response to your original question, I do want to point out an article really quickly. The FDA has approved OxyContin for children as young as 11 years old.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I just want to point out the insanity of that and have people realize oxys are one of the most addictive drugs out there. Yet the FDA approved them for the use on 10-year-olds.
But if it's so addictive for adults, how much more addictive is it going to be for children? Is this, again, more about money than about what's right and wrong?
That's the only thing I could see. I mean, if it wasn't about money, quite honestly, they'd be looking into putting marijuana into pills or something for pain relief. That's proven non-addictive, you know. And that's not a rant on legalization of marijuana. I said putting it into a pill form to help people for pain relief. There's a difference. But OxyContins, who bribed the FDA, or who got the new house or the new trip or got promised a new job or something? This is crazy.
Bribery with the FDA. How dare you suggest such a thing that anyone can bribe the FDA?
Oh, no. It wouldn't be outright bribery, because that's illegal, Xander, and you could prove that.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure nobody got it.
There are so many backroom deals that go on in this country, not just about things like that, but in the government and everything. And it's worrying.
It is. I mean, can anybody, I mean, perhaps I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant on the issue. Can somebody please inform me what the justification for giving 10-year-olds OxyContin would be? Why the FDA would approve one of the most addictive painkillers for 10-year-olds?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely it really is a concern, and I definitely think this is more. You see, the drug companies have held the government and the American people hostage for far too long, and I think that something has to be done to change it, because I don't think Obamacare changed. Most people that I know are actually paying more for their health insurance. And that really is a concern.
Well, that's because I don't think Obamacare was designed to help anybody. I think it was designed to get the insurance companies more business. People that didn't have money to pay have to pay $30 a month or $70 a month now. They got a bunch of new customers out of the deal because it's mandatory. They forced people to buy a product,
right.
Which was why I opposed it.
Paige just made an interesting point in the chat room. Paige said that the next generation of addicts, and I read it and I thought, wow, how true. They're actually just ensuring another generation of people to buy their products.
And, you know, never mind that. There's even a moral issue behind this. Let's say nothing dirty's gone on. Let's give the extreme benefit of the doubt, okay? Because I can't prove for a fact anybody was bribed directly or indirectly. So let's give the benefit of the doubt here and say that this was some reasoning behind this insanity. How do you tell a teenager or a young kid in middle school or grade school, don't take that drug, that's bad for you. But if you don't take this pill, you're wrong and you're misbehaving. So if you take the blue pill, you're a good boy. But, if you take the red pill, you're bad. I mean, how do they expect to curb the use of drugs when on the one hand you're shoving them down children's throats?
Isn't that a line from The Matrix? If you take the blue pill, you be Republican.
Yeah, and I probably
if you take the red pill, you be Democrat.
And I probably got the colors mixed up, honestly, but it is that concept. I mean, how do you tell a child to distinguish between the two? You're making addicts,
I don't
like
think
the
you
person
can.
said in the chat room.
But people do, and that leads. That's a perfect segue into the last segment. We have a few minutes to discuss. With regards to Kim Kardashian, who's no stranger to criticism, but she probably never faced negative publicity like this. Now, the FDA has said her social media feed violates directly FDA drug promotion rules, as she recently began promoting a morning sickness pill. Kim would endorse anything for money, clearly, and relatively common for a lot of celebrities. In posts to Instagram and Facebook earlier this month, Kim talks about her struggles with nausea due to pregnancy and said, "I tried changing things about my lifestyle, like my diet, but nothing helped, so I talked to my doctor." The post states, "He prescribed me Diclegis." I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Diclegis. "And I felt a lot better, and most importantly, it's being studied, and there was no increased risk to the baby." Now, she has over 42 million followers on Instagram and 25 million on Facebook, and shared links to a website, including the FDA-approved labeling information. FDA regulators say the posts violate the rules for promoting drugs because they do not mention the side effects of Diclegis, which include sleepiness that can make it dangerous to drive or perform other activities that require mental alertness, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The drug label warns that Diclegis should not be combined with alcohol or other medications, that it might cause drowsiness, such as sleeping aids or certain pain relievers. Why the hell is she sharing this information as read without sharing the consequences, the side effects? Even television advertising about drugs. In this country, they have to talk about what the side effects might be.
True. Now, did she get paid for that? That's what I was unclear on. Did she get paid for that endorsement, or was she just doing a goodwill thing because she believed in a product?
I don't believe she did it for free. No celebrity is going to say for free that they endorse a product. I don't believe it. I really do not believe it. That would be very few and far between. But there
you do believe she was compensated?
I do. Yeah. I can't prove she was compensated. Maybe we should ask her. Maybe we should ask her if she was compensated. In fact, I know you listen to the show, Kim. If you are listening today, call us. Let us know, 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. And tell us if you were compensated for this. Can you imagine her doing it for free, Tony? I really can't. Can you?
Honestly, Xander, I don't know, but I could understand if she did, because sometimes we believe so strongly in something, if it helps us, we want to share it with everything. So perhaps she was using her celebrity status to share something she really thought would be making a difference, but the far likelihood is that she was compensated, like you said.
That kind of makes me laugh, too. I think the word celebrity is bandied about far too much in this country. And the fact that Kim Kardashian and any of the Kardashians are celebrities is a mystery to me. It really is. There, I said it. But what do you think? What do you think about this ideology? Because lots of people will follow celebrities and follow their advice. There was some rock star in the 90s that were telling young people not to take their medication and things like that. I can't even recall who it was. But isn't it a concern that celebrities use their position to push opinions on issues that could be dangerous?
Well, I think we're seeing that right here in the presidential election with Donald Trump. I mean, come on, let's be real. If Donald Trump was some no-name from a state, running from a governor or mayor or something, nobody'd be listening to him. Everybody's talking about him and his crazy ideas because it's Donald Trump from You're Fired on The Apprentice. Including me, for that matter. I'll include myself in that.
But are we? I mean, we might be listening to him, but is that only because he's shouting loud, or because he's saying something that's worth listening to? To me, it's kind of that's the question, Tony.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Xander. I've been dying to say this for a while. The cure is worse than the disease. People have to understand Donald Trump, go back and look at Germany in the history, is a fascist in his beliefs and in his policies. People have to understand that Bernie Sanders is a socialist in his policies and beliefs. See, the cure is worse than the disease right now.
Right.
It's great that they will talk about this, that they're so independent, and they'll talk about things that nobody else wants to talk about, but that doesn't make their policies the best policies. I could firmly go on TV and advocate for the killing of all Muslims right now with strongness and empathy and say, this is how it is, and look, they've done this and that. That doesn't mean you should give me the power to go kill every Muslim there is.
Right.
And that's what people don't understand. Strength of character, and just because somebody speaks strongly or goes against the grain does not make them right. It can also make them dangerous. And I'm sounding the alarm on this to all America. Please listen. People can be dangerous despite that they give a good show and talk a good talk.
Right. But surely that has to be even more concerning. It really does, because I think ultimately, I've been doing this radio show for 3 years. I've done a TV show for one series, and I'm very careful about what I put out there, because I wouldn't want to be responsible for somebody being dead. I really wouldn't. So I think it's imperative to be careful about what you put out there, and you have to actually make it clear the difference between fact and opinion, because most people are really not capable of doing that. But I do. If it's my opinion, I make sure I say it's my opinion, because it's imperative to do so.
And see, you have something that a lot of professional journalists and celebrities lack, which is that integrity, Xander. Even myself, when I write posts, I've occasionally edit them and realized, wait, that was too emotional. That could incite somebody to do the wrong thing or give the wrong impression. And I clarify, and I edit the post for that reason. When you are out there in public making statements, whether you're a politician or a celebrity or a leader or just somebody out there with a Facebook or a Twitter following, you have a great responsibility. What's that movie line? With great power comes great responsibility. But
exactly.
It's so true. It is so
exactly.
true.
Well, sorry to stop you mid-flow, but time has caught up with us, and I want you to get an opportunity to tell people where they can follow you, Tony, and where they can find your writings and your videos, etc.
You can find me at YouTube on The Full Story. You can also go to Facebook, and I have a Facebook page dedicated to it as well called The Full Story. And I promise anybody that goes to either site, you will hear not the left-wing side, not the right-wing side. You will not hear the gay side, Christian side, the black side, the white side. You will hear the full story, and I assure you I am an equal opportunity offender. If I'm not offending somebody, there's something wrong.
Absolutely. My sentiments exactly. So tell people where you are on Facebook.
Facebook is the same thing. You just go to The Full Story, and you can hit my page. It should come up right away, hopefully, if Facebook hasn't messed with their algorithms again. So you just type in The Full Story, and you can find all my commentary and memes and a lot of my videos I post from the YouTube channel on the Facebook page as well. Absolutely.
Well, I hope you'll come back and join us again very soon, Tony. Thank you for the interesting debate today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. But for now, Tony Lasacco, thank you very much. Give our love to Kiko and have a fabulous weekend.
You too, Xander. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Tony. That was indeed Tony Lasacco. Make sure you check him out on Facebook and Twitter. You will find him under The Full Story with interesting articles and videos. Make sure you check us out on social media. You can find me, Xander Gibb, on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you follow and keep up to date with what's going on with the show. Thanks to everybody who's joined us today, everyone listening. Thanks to everybody in chat. Thanks to Paige. Make sure you join us again next week for Xandermonium. And the TV show will be back in the middle of September for Series 2. Thanks so much for your continued listening and viewing, and I love you all. This is a song of mine that I'm playing out with called Ideal One. Thanks a lot. I love you all.
Ah, you're my ideal one. Love is gone.